An emotional homecoming, deer barking in the garden machinery breaking and not working, grass so long you can't even walk through it, and 2 new additions to the family. It's been an insane few weeks. Stay tuned. Five weeks is a long time. I wasn't the only one who missed John while he was away. The time dragged. But eventually the day arrived and I collected him from the airport, and it was the best thing ever. Yes, John is home and it is just so lovely to have him back. 5 weeks is a long time, and we're both kind of struggling to get back into our routine again. Obviously, while he was gone, he developed his own routine. And while he was gone, I developed my own routine here with the cats, coping with countryside living. And as much as we're happy to see each other, things are just like, trying to get the timings right again and trying to get back into the swing of things. But we're getting there. There was a whole host of things that I wanted to share with you this episode, but I've really had to condense it. Otherwise, it's going to end up being a ridiculously long episode. As soon as John came back, we needed to really attack the garden. Because we live out in the countryside, we have 2 acres of land. It can very, very quickly get overgrown, and it can just look jungle-like if we're not careful. So I wanted to try and mow the lawn with the ride-on lawnmower while John was away, but the mower wasn't working, despite John kind of talking me through some fixes over the phone. And when he got back, it was one of the first things that he tried to do. Took it all apart and tried to fix it, but we had to order some parts. So the grass grew. And in the meantime, John got out the strimmer so that he could go around all the edges, and the strimmer packed up. So we had to take that apart, and I think it ended up being like the fuel filter or something that he had to replace. Thank goodness he had spare parts, and thank goodness he knows how to do all these things. And then eventually we got on we got out the push mower, which we do for certain areas in the garden, and that packed up as well. So John had to take that apart, and thankfully that just turned out to be a lot of old wet grass that had clogged everything inside. And once it had a good clean out, it was working. But it was just like, when you're trying to get up to date. So we're trying to catch up with all these things, and there's been lots of things happening. I recorded a deer barking in our top field one night, so it's just the audio, because obviously the camera couldn't pick up any visuals. But so I'm excited to share that with you. There's a whole host of other things. Spring has well and truly arrived. The garden's looking, well, now that we've cut the grass anyway, it's looking fabulous. The flowers are all out. Everything's pretty. There's bees and butterflies everywhere. It's just fabulous. And yes, and we have 2 new members that have joined our family, but I'm going to leave that to the end to share with you, because that's kind of a fun thing. So let's start straight with the animal communication. There's 2 animal communications that I want to tell you about this week. One was with a squirrel. And if you remember last episode, I mentioned that I was very excited because I'd never spoken to a squirrel before. It was an absolute delight. The lady had found the squirrel when it was very, very young, literally almost just been born. Not quite sure why it was in that circumstance, but she had it for 4 years, and it got ill and it passed away. But she and the squirrel had developed such a close bond, and it was incredible. It was incredible to feel the connection that they had. And the squirrel had this really lovely sunshine vibe to it. So I can describe it. It felt like it was constantly surrounded by this sort of ray of sunshine. It was an absolute delight. The other animal that I wanted to tell you about was a dog, and it was a dog that was its playmate, its companion dog, had passed away a couple of months earlier, and the lady wanted to check in on this dog to see how it was feeling and
if it was grieving and if it needed anything from her. And we discovered all sorts of things, that the dog that had passed away was very ill, and the dog that was left behind had, for the last couple of months, had to make loads of allowances with the way he conducted himself in the household because of this ill dog. And now that that ill dog was gone, this dog, as much as he missed the companionship of the other dog and was very aware of its absence, he felt all of a sudden like he could spread out and not fret about how he was within the household. So that was really, really interesting. And he wasn't mourning in a way that he was depressed and sad. He was very conscious of the fact that this other dog was gone, but was finding ways to adapt to being on his own. So it was a very nice reading, because the lady was worried that the dog was mourning and that she needed to make allowances for it, but somebody driving past on a bicycle. But I assured her that everything was okay with the dog, and that she had nothing to worry about. So lovely sessions all around. Thank you for joining me. Bye.
So whilst we've both been trying to get on top of the garden, and John has obviously gone back to work, he has a gardening business himself, is playing a lot of catch up with home gardening and client gardening. Obviously there hasn't been much of a chance to do any barn conversion. However, there's something very, very exciting which we've decided to go ahead with, which we've been putting off for a long time because it's a very dangerous job, and we were going to do it ourselves, but we've decided to get somebody in to do it, because if it goes wrong, it's really going to mess up the building. But we need to go downstairs so that I can show you what's going to happen. So come on, join me and I'll show you what's going on.
Okie dokie, so here we are downstairs. So we're in the crease of the L shape, if that makes any sense. So the barn is an L shape. That wing is the living room, and this will be what we playfully call the library, basically the room with all our books. Upstairs is John's office and my office, and then behind you is the kitchen and the utility room and pantry, and upstairs is our bedroom and main ensuite. So we're kind of in that kind of corner of the L. Now this wall here leads out onto a garden, and in fact maybe I'll take you around and show you where it's going to come out.
And the idea is to put a patio door in here. Now, if you can see, obviously we're downstairs, and we've got these massive beams here. So we want to take an area out that's just on 2 meters wide. So all these stones here have to come out, and we have to insert 3 wooden lintels across the top of that hole, and then install some patio doors with all the supporting stone. Now, like I said, we were going to do it ourselves, and we had advice, and John's more than capable of doing it. That's not the issue. The issue is the stress involved, really. So through a friend of ours who had a French artisan do similar work on their house, we had him come around, and he had a look at everything, and he looked at the structure of the building. He's been upstairs, he's looked at all the A-frame structures, he's looked at the width of the walls, and advised on the types of stone that we need to put around the patio door for the supporting stone. And he is going to do that work for us. We are beyond excited. It's going to be hugely disruptive, as you can imagine, because it's not quite summer yet. It's still quite fresh outside, and to have this whole wall pretty much taken out, because obviously you've got to go further out than the actual size of the door so that you can fix all the stone nicely. There's a load of stone. I will take you into the garden now to show you a load of stone in the back garden that John now has to move, so that this gentleman has a place to work with the stone, so that he can make this sort of surround look nice. It's so exciting. This room's the darkest room in the house because there aren't any windows. You know, this opening here, I think the camera can come all the way around, that's actually the living room. And there are 2 windows in there, and that's why it's much brighter there. But this room is always dark because you've got the door to upstairs, but then there's nothing. So it's going to change the whole dynamic. And when there's a patio door here, okay, it is a north-facing wall, it's not going to get bright sunshine. But when there's a patio door here, the light that's going to come through is amazing. And with there's patio doors just directly behind you, leading into the kitchen, so the light's going to flood through, and it's it's super exciting. So yeah, I can't wait to keep you posted on that. I think John's going to get the digger. It's out at the moment. He's going to get that back so that he can move some of the stones around the back and prepare the area, and then we will get the gentleman in, and I will be sure to record every step of the way so that you can join us on the exciting journey. So what I'll do is I'll take you outside now and show you this wall from the other side, so that you can see see it sort of with a different perspective. Okay, so now we're out the back of the house, and there's already 3 cats that have come to investigate. Is this kinky? Right, so this is the corner of the L shape. So you come down the stairs here, and the area that I was just standing in is kind of here. You can see there's 2 holes in the wall here, and the patio doors are kind of going roughly there. So the living room's that side. This whole area has to be cleared because these piles of stones were created when John built the woodshed. I think I can get the camera to turn around. I'm sure you can see it here. So John built this last year, so we had somewhere to store all the wood. But all these stones came from when he had to take half of this wall down. So yeah, so there's a lot, and those big stones were in the actual shed themselves, because we think it was some sort of like pig shed or something. So there's massive. These all have to be cleared because the guy has to have access to do his work. And then ultimately, this is like a long stretch of garden, and this ultimately will be the only pristinely maintained garden. The rest of the garden is really
what we refer to as maintained wilderness. Because it's countryside and because they were fields, we keep it looking neat and clean, but we don't kind of plant and make it pretty. This area will be pretty eventually. So that's the story. So I will keep you posted on that, and hopefully in the next few months we will see a set of patio doors there, which will be very, very exciting. Let's see if I can grab Nala to say hello. Say hello to everybody, Nala. Nala. See you.
Now this video you might think is a video of the front of our house, but if you look up onto the apex of the roof, you will see there is a flipping cat there. This is Kinky. He's the smallest of our cats, and also the one who we feel isn't quite right somehow in the head. Seriously. And my heart was in my throat. He did come down, but he was having a whale of a time. He thought it was the best thing ever, and he has been up there since. Yeah, the joys of being a cat mum. Bless him.
So we've got some very exciting news for you. We have 2 additions to our family, Gizmo and Doug. Before you think that they are cats, Gizmo allows the camera to do that without needing John behind the camera, which is really cool, and I'm hoping it will give some depth to some of the videos.
Just a quick edit here, because I realize the sound is bad in that clip, and John has bought me a microphone for recording, but I wasn't wearing it that day. So the first addition to our family is Gizmo. Every bit of equipment that we own, we always give a name to. Don't ask me why. I don't know why we do it, but we do it. And Gizmo is a gimbal. And a gimbal is an apparatus which allows me to record with my smartphone, but it keeps the smartphone at a certain angle so that you get much smoother shots. There's like drone mode and all sorts of things, but most importantly, it has a follow me function. So as you can see in that video, I'm standing there and I walk to the side, the camera follows me and it follows me back. That's not John actually moving the camera, it's doing it all on its own. So I stick it on a tripod and I simply move around and it follows me. So I'm hoping this is going to really expand the type of footage that I can provide on my YouTube channel. So let me know what you think. But on to the second addition to our family, Doug.
But Doug is really going to change things up. So we'll get him in shots and you can meet him face to face. Hey Doug! Bye Doug! Can't wait to show you some of the footage that we've been getting.
So what do you think of that? What a treat, right? John treated himself to a drone. And I say treated himself, obviously he bought it, he did all the research, but it's very much a tool for us, and he's also very excited to be able to provide some extra special footage for future episodes. So we've already got loads of ideas of how to work together, and it's just going to be so fabulous to start putting some real creative ideas into these videos. So I hope you've enjoyed this week's episode. There were a load of things that I wanted to include that I didn't have a chance to. I'm going to have to do them as separate videos. I did a completely new video on our cottage, just some little scenic shots, put it to some music, you know, using Gizmo. And I did another video which was a load of the spring flowers that we have in our garden, and it gives you a second to see if you can identify them before I put the name of the flower up on the screen. But if I had to put it in this video, it would have just been too long. So I'm going to put those as two separate videos. I haven't yet uploaded them, so I can't, as of now, put the link in, but I will go and edit the description once I've uploaded the videos. But I think that's all for now. And as always, comment if you've liked the video, if there's any bits about it that you really enjoyed, if there's anything that you would like to see now that you know we've got the drone and we've got new sort of camera equipment. Let us know if there's something you'd like to see. And yep, I guess that's it. We'll see you in the next episode. Bye, bye. The family. It's been a busy few weeks.